looking into them carefully enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that's, again, to be fair, the SFWA, they do provide a lot of resources even for non-members. You know, obviously, there are things I wish they could do differently, but there are things they do very, very well. And that's the same with a lot of the, you know, a lot of the magazine editors and so forth out there. You know, I've named several that I thought were quite good. Actually, CC Finley, FNSF now. He sent me a very nice rejection letter. I was like, wow, nice. I don't even feel bad.
I want to send editors a thank you note for really nice rejections, but I know they probably get thousands of notes a day, but there's just something so unique and I think uplifting about getting a rejection. Wow, I really love this story. It's just not going to fit with this, you know, please keep submitting it. That's going to keep me going for a couple months already.
Yeah, I got one from Shimmer last year, and like what she wrote was, the story is heading in a very shimmery direction. We just want it to be longer. And I was like, man,
wow,
shimmery.
I can work on that.
I can take that.
That's great. Well, you know, the SFWA did a lot of things for me when I was just starting out, and I had absolutely no idea how to function in the world of submissions because they have things like sample contracts online. And when we were negotiating contract specifics, I remember going straight to the contract.
Yeah, I remember getting the contract from Kelly.
And I had a lot of changes on it. And he's like, I'm sorry, this is a deal breaker. That's really not going to be okay. But I think it's a testimony to the way that you work as an editor, that I haven't ever had a relationship with another editor in just the few times I've been published where I felt confident enough to push back and say, no, this is really important to me. And this is important to my artistic vision, and this is important to the story, and here's why. And if it's a deal breaker for you, please don't reject me yet, we'll talk about it. But I don't know that I would feel confident with a lot of other editors in traditional publishing.
I would have to say I have some pretty dynamic relationships with some editors. Some who I think what it is when you are, you know, working with an editor, you have to feel like they're invested in the work as well. And unfortunately, a lot of them aren't. You know, they're just kind of punching the clock. It's not their work. So, but for me, I feel like if you're editing this, your name's going to be credited that you should be invested in it. And I think you can tell the difference when the editor is, you know, feeling like this is their work, even though they're editing, it's still an artistic expression because they're going to see certain things. So if I feel like my editor isn't, you know, invested in it, I have to end that relationship right there because that person is gonna be presenting your work in a certain way. I mean, you know, just think about it if you were an independent artist. You know, you paint a picture and you know you have it done and you give it to a gallery to display and try to sell for you. If the gallery doesn't care about it, they're just gonna tack it on the wall with a hole in the middle of it because they don't care. But if they're invested in it, they're going to find a nice frame for it, they're going to make sure there's the right lighting, and they're going to send people to it. And that's the difference. And there's not enough editors out there like LA, and there should be more.
Yeah, very true though. And because I'm a beginning writer and I'm just starting to submit, I often feel like I don't have the ability, or I probably do, and I need to exercise it more, but I'm so desperate to get into publications that I often don't push back, that I will make changes that otherwise, they don't compromise the story. In fact, in some ways they probably make it better, but that I wouldn't have done originally. And if I felt like I had a better relationship, I would have pushed back on the setting or on contract specifics. I actually just have a story coming out shortly, and the organization doesn't do contracts. So I wrote up a contract and sent it over because truly it's, you know, you need to know where to draw the line as a beginning writer. How desperate are you to get into a publication? Are you willing to pay a vanity press that's going to hold on to the ISBN of your novel so that it's not yours ever again? Or do you stand up from the beginning and say, no, I'm sorry, you're not treating my story the right way, and you're not publishing it or editing it appropriately, and you're not representing the contract that I need, so I'm walking away from a potential publication. That's a scary line to draw when you're starting.
Yeah, it is. But I think it's important for writers to do that. But again, this comes, again, probably from my background in the music industry, where typically an artist has the lyrics, they have the music. Well, I say typically, it's become so prepackaged now. But when I got into the music industry, you know, a band would show up and they'd have their demo tape, they'd have their songs worked out, they'd have sort of their look and their music, and the label would tweak things and make them better, but they didn't rewrite the songs, which they actually kind of do that now in a lot of cases, but they didn't then. And so I guess sort of that same sensibility comes with me with editing. It doesn't always work out. Another author who's in here sent me a story for the next edition. Lovely story, liked everything about it but the ending. And I sent it back to him and I said, the ending doesn't feel right. What if you did X, Y, or Z? And he wrote me back and said, yeah, I didn't really want this to be that sort of a supernatural or twist ending kind of thing. I just wanted it to be about these two people. And I said, well, it is about these two people, and you handle that dynamic very well. At the end of the story, I'm just like, what the F? That's it? And he's like, well, why don't I send you a different one? I said, okay, send me a different one. So, we had a reasonable conversation about it, and it just didn't work for me. It doesn't mean it's a bad story.
Or it doesn't mean it's not going to work for someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just have to keep submitting and submitting and submitting. And if you believe that a story is going to work, it's going to find a home somewhere.
Yeah, and I mean, then I've got stories that I think I submitted Trace Lasers, which is a story of mine that Toy likes quite a bit. I think I submitted that 15 or 20 times before I said screw it and self-publish it. So.
Yeah, but did you ever receive any feedback on it? Did you receive any? So 15 to 20 rejections, and rejections from major publishers can be 6 months, 12 months, a year and a half.
Yeah,
and then they're like, don't query unless it's been a whole year since you submitted it.
Yeah, one outlet held it over a year, and one outlet held it 6 or 8 months, and I queried. I said, oh, we lost it, send it again. and they have these policies where they forbid simultaneous submissions. So while Trace Lasers is sitting in their slush pile for 8 months, I can't submit it to anyone else. I query, and they say, we lost it, send it again.
And that's
no, I'm not going to do that.
I mean, we're talking about independent and self-publishing. The idea that you can find a small independent press to submit to that's got an open call for submissions either on a specific theme or topic or just general open for different editions, you're more likely to be seen. Slush readers from the major magazines are overwhelmed. Think of the metaphorical slush stack that they've got. They are jaded. They're interns, and their jobs are not very well paid. And so it's your job as a writer to try and write something so gloriously amazing that it grabs their attention. They immediately leap across the virtual desk to their editor and say, you want this. It doesn't happen that way. You're just one of thousands of people that submits to those magazines probably a day, a week. So I have found a better experience not only in editing, but in the marketing and the experience of actually getting accepted into small publishing groups that are dedicated to either themes, so like paranormal romance, specific genres, or that have cut out their niches and have very good history behind them, but that are still small. The problem is, they don't pay a lot.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, the first thing I look for on a submissions page is how much you can pay me, because can you please get me a membership to the SFWA?
Right. 6 cents a word it has to be.
Oh, it used to be 5, and I don't even want to look at the new rules now, because I know it's a moving target.
Yeah, it's 6 cents a word. It has to be 3 different stories, right?
Or one that hits a certain mark of readership with a certain percentage of royalty.
Yeah, so the reality is that, 95, 99% of the people who meet those qualifications are people who are previously published. Their names, they've been in business for years or decades. So
it takes a long time to get there. The benefits are some that I wonder, as a new author, whether or not I might be able to replicate by what you're saying, which is joining writers groups, finding that signal boost in other ways outside of the professional organization.